At this hour, and from here, it looks very much as it did then, when all of us were younger, and some of you were being born. How many times have you wished that you could take yesterday and bottle it? This is a love story. And here is our leading lady, getting ready for bed. Who said they all look alike in the dark? Will you love me in December, as you do in May? Will you love me in the good old-fashioned way? I've always thought that Jimmy Walker didn't write that song for a girl, that he wrote it for a city. A city that loved and cheered him when he was the Democratic Party's favorite son, but when things got tough, all the cheers came from the Bronx. A city that still turns on her brightest smile with the throw of a switch. But look out for the morning after, when Cinderella goes home and somebody's liable to swipe her pumpkin. For this is a city who changes her heroes as quickly as she changes seasons. Will you love me in December, as you do in May? Let's go back to May, the May when it all began. The year is now 1925, and the city never heard of it.
Hey, Chris, who's in the car?
No, you got it.
Jackson Nash, give me a hand. Will you take it easy, boys?
What, I hope to see the governor?
Now, boys, I got some news for you. I want you to meet the next mayor of the city of New York.
Walker. Don't leave town. I just came along for the ride.
What if the people call, it'll be your reluctant duty to accept.
Like a shot. Not this time. I could never be elected mayor, and you boys know the reason as well as I do.
Pay no attention. Jim always underestimates.
Yeah.
16 years in the state legislature. All those great bills he put through. I'm telling
Legalized boxing, Sunday movies, Sunday baseball.
Yeah, he likes girls on Sundays, too, but he couldn't get that bill passed.
If I had, I could be elected president.
Buy a flower for luck.
Can't have too much luck. I'll take two of them. Katie, takes only a rose in your hair to make you the queen of Tralee.
Save it. I vote the straight socialist ticket.
Some days it's hardly worthwhile being Irish.
you. Come on, will you? You've been keeping them waiting for an hour.
Senator Walker, Governor Smith will see you.
Hello, Al. Sorry I kept you waiting.
Well, if it isn't the late Mr. Walker. Jimmy, have you ever been any place on time?
I was a 10-month baby.
Sit down, sit down. Have a cigar?
I'm not old enough to smoke one of those.
Well, I don't believe anybody is. Say, you know, Jimmy, pretty hard for me to believe. They tell me that you don't want to run for mayor.
Algie, when I was only 6 years old, my old man stood me up on the kitchen table and had me make speeches for the relatives. 77 years ago. The other kids were out playing ball, but I was still on that battlefield at Gettysburg. I'm getting a little old to be up on that table. Let me down.
The party's in trouble, Jim.
That makes two of us.
Well, what we need is a vote getter. Somebody that can get on that radio and hit them right where they live. I kept a pretty sharp eye on you up in Albany, and you're the best one around.
Who we fooling, Al? They'd cut me to ribbons in the campaign. You know what the issue would be.
There won't be an issue if you go back to your wife.
I'm sorry, but she seems to have gotten out of the habit.
And if you could stay away from Broadway, which you can't, get rid of some of those political friends of yours, which you won't, start living with Allie again.
Which she won't.
There's no limit to how far you can go in public life.
I'm sorry, Al. I might as well leave. This is as far as I'm going.
Jimmy, you're going to run for mayor in New York City with your wife right at your side.
Allie wouldn't stand at my side if I was running for King of Ireland.
You ever bother to ask her? Come in, Mrs. Walker.
Remember me, Jim?
Hello, Allie.
Jim, guess you didn't realize how much of a politician I really was. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Walker.
You don't have to do this for me, Allie. It's not that important to me.
Nothing ever is, Jim. Now I've got the ring to prove it.
Look, why don't we forget this whole thing, go out and have a drink together?
There's nothing to celebrate yet.
Yes, there is. I'm giving up politics, and I'm going back into the show business.
You don't know the difference.
Does anybody?
Jim, whatever happened to that young lawyer I married who was going to be governor before he was 30? And instead, spent 16 years in the state legislature, telling jokes to his fellow senators.
They held me over, didn't they?
Why do you think I've been sitting on Chris Nolan's doorstep the last couple of months, begging him to handle your campaign? This is your chance. Don't let it slip away like everything else.
It's a big son of a gun, isn't it?
If there was any job you were born for, this one's it.
There's only one reason I'd consider it. I love this cockeyed city more than anything else in the whole wide world.
Maybe that's because you haven't met another city yet.
You know, we'd have made a great couple if we hadn't gotten married.
That was a lovely song you wrote for me. Will you love me in December as you do in May? We didn't even make it till October.
Yeah, but we had a whale of a summer.
A lot of people think our marriage broke up because there weren't any children. But they're wrong. There was always one around the house.
And now you want to turn him into a mayor.
Why not? He'll never make a husband.
He could try again.
This time he'll have to try my way. When you've learned to behave and to make something of yourself, then we can go out and have that drink together.
And until then? Well, there's always Sunday baseball.
Announce the arrival in this hall, the Democratic candidate for mayor of the city of New York.
Father Knickerbocker's favorite son, Senator James J. Jimmy Walker, and his beloved wife.
Will you love me in December? Everybody. Everybody say.
Will you love me in that good old-fashioned way? When I'm there on your way, will you kiss me, dear, and say that you love me in December as you do in May?
Amarai sempre nella stessa maniera. Quando i capelli saranno grigi, mi bacerai dicendo di amarmi nell'inverno come mi ami a primavera. Wes mich lieben in Dezember, wie die liebst mich in Mai. Wes mich lieben immer Zimmer an der Schnee. Wes mich halten immer zu, wenn ich bin alten Groove. Wes mich lieben in Dezember, wie die liebst mich in Mai.
Come on up here and join the party. We could dance up a few votes together, huh? How about that? Little buck tempo.
If I could dance like you, I wouldn't waste my time running for office.
What kind of a mayor is this guy gonna make? A lousy mayor, but brother, what a candidate.
Godāt ievies. Senatoram Vokerkungam gan jau kopš pusstundas vajadzēja būt šeit, un es nezinu, kāpēc, bet es domāju, ja jūs vēl mazu lietiņu drusciņu paciestos, tad es domāju, ka viņš ieradīsies katrā ziņā. Tur jau viņš arī Tautieši, kā redziet, mūsu augsti godātais viesis beidzot tomēr iedzied.
Getting a little mixed up. Who are these people?
I don't know, Jim. This is our sixth banquet tonight, and everybody looks the same.
Un proti, par James J. Walker. Tagad ne. Mūsu kandidātu. Ņujorkas pilsētas galvasvārds.
What language is he talking?
Mūsu kandidātu.
Well, sounds like Gesundheit to me.
Ienījumo un mīļo Jimmiju Walkeru. Tagad ne. Mūsu mīļo Jimmiju Walkeru ir audzinājis viņa mīļotais tēvs, kas pat šai zemē ir ieradies nesen kā nabadzīgs īru emigrants. Bet ar centību, bet tāpēc mēs visi kopā vēlēsim šai Ņujorkas pilsētas visaugstākajā amatā mūsu mīļo senatoru, mūsu ar Džordžu Džeselu.
I want to thank the chairman for his very, very warm remarks. And now, without further ado, I bring you a man who speaks everybody's language. The Honorable James J. Jimmy Walker, the next mayor of the great city of New York.
Any clues?
Well, they're having Jell-O for dessert.
Thank you, Sherlock Holmes. My friends, on the way to the hotel tonight, I drove through Central Park, past the heroic statue of Tadeusz Andres Bonaventura Kosciuszko, that great Polish patriot. It reminded me that New York owes its greatness to many races. There are statues on the streets to that friend of democracy, Giuseppe Garibaldi. The Marquis de Lafayette, Simon Bolivar, Karl Marx. But greatness is not a matter of geography. New York's sons have come to her from Albania, Bulgaria, Denmark, Latvia. You know, when I got up to speak, I didn't know who you were. And now that I've found out, it really doesn't matter. Because when you step into that voting booth, you're Americans. Which means you can vote for whoever you want to. And I will be very, very proud if it's for James J. Walker.
Have some Jell-O. You always could talk your way out of anything.
Jimmy Walker's father once said, who'd want to be president of the United States when he could be mayor of New York? Jimmy waltzed into City Hall by a margin of over 400,000 votes. He carried the entire Democratic ticket with him. It was Tammany's first complete victory since 1902. That's a long time between dances.
Well, no one ever thought this day would come, but we made it. Jim, here's home sweet home for the next 4 years.
Thanks, Chris. I've never seen a room this size without a floor show.
It's got one now.
My father was right. Who'd want to be president of the United States?
Can we quote you on that, Jim?
I can do better than that. I never knew how much I wanted this job until this minute. My eternal gratitude to the people of New York for making me the 100th mayor of not the biggest city in the world, but the only city in the world.
Hold it.
Just a minute, Jack. Picture isn't complete. If it weren't for you, I'd be standing out in the street demanding a recount. Assassinated the first day in office.
Okay, boys, clear the office now. The mayor has work to do.
So long, Jim.
No, that's for all of them.
All right, Chris.
I'll be home early.
In case you've forgotten, the address is 6 St. Luke's Place.
I know, I grew up there.
You never grew up anywhere, Jim.
Until today. I'm starting on 2 new jobs.
Aye.
Don't get up. I'll sit in your lap.
Oh, sorry. We got a few things to talk over, Jim. It was a tough campaign. A lot of people worked hard, and the organization made up a list of recommendations. It's grateful time.
We're letting gratitude run away with us. Vaselli for a building inspector?
He was only indicted. They never proved a thing.
I once had a schnauzer that had 12 puppies. Nobody could prove who the father was, but we knew there was one around someplace.
What are you making a big deal about?
Chris, I'm a lawyer myself. I know what happens when you tamper with an enforcement agency. I never really wanted this job, but now that I've got it, if I ever knowingly do anything to hurt this city, I'm going to turn in my uniform.
Who are you all of a sudden? George Washington?
No, but I'm the mayor. Red nose, baggy pants and all, I'm still the mayor. Tell the boys at the hall they could at least consult me before making out a list.
What are you getting sore at me for? I'm just a messenger boy. You know how these things are done. They ain't diapers you're wearing.
Al Smith said I was to have a free hand.
Al Smith and Albany, these guys are here. They're the ones that helped put you in office.
I thought the people did that.
Sure. Us people. Look, we've known each other too long to bull each other, Jim. Here.
I'll look it over, but I'm not making any promises.
That's all we ask.
Oh, Mr. Mayor,
That's very reassuring.
who have you selected for your new police commissioner? Or haven't they told you yet?
Charlie? How'd you like to work for the new administration?
Come on, you didn't even get my vote.
I need a dissenting opinion.
What do you want an enemy in your own office for?
I just got a good look at my friends. Come around and see me. Everyone else will.
What is it, Jim?
This has been a big night. Prodigal returns, the loveliest colleen this side of the River Shannon.
You've had a drink.
It's a free country.
There is such a thing as prohibition.
All right, so it isn't a free country. Let's drink to that, and to the republic for which it stands.
Chris Nolan phoned me.
From my phone, no doubt.
Sometimes you have to play along to get ahead.
And why get ahead?
You haven't changed, have you?
No, I'm still the fun-loving Rover boy. And you're very pretty tonight.
The campaign's over, Jim.
Not this one.
Aren't you taking a lot for granted? You didn't get enough votes to carry the bedroom. Not for a while.
I thought once I was mayor, I'd be off probation. You holding out for the presidency?
Good night, Your Honor.
Good night, Your Honor.
Staten Island too. It's lovely going through the zoo. It's very fancy on Old Delancey Street, you know. The subway charms us so when balmy breezes blow to and fro. And tell me what street compares with Mott Street in July. Sweet push carts gently glide, ding by.
I don't have enough trouble. Favorite lyric, and she's murdering.
The great big city's a wondrous toy, just made for a girl and boy. We'll turn Manhattan into an Isle of Joy.
And I can't take any more of this. Good night.
Something wrong, Jim?
Billy, if you ever let that child sing about New York again, I'll take out an injunction.
That gal, she's just a new kid from Canada. What should she know from Manhattan?
She's given me indigestion, at least.
You should know better than to drink our liquor. You all right, Jim?
I'm on top of the world, Billy. Doesn't it show?
Tell me what street compares with Mott Street in July. Sweet push carts gently glide, ding by. The great big city's a wondrous toy, just made for a girl and boy.
May the Lord have mercy on your soul.
Into an Isle of Joy.
Jim, can we see you home?
Where's that?
Oh, come on, Jim. I'm just trying.
No, I'm all right.
Will you please?
Please. Let me do one thing without the help of the party, huh?
Jim, we're just
Yeah,
trying.
that's an order.
Good night,
Who's mayor here, anyway?
Well, good night. Or maybe it's good morning, huh?
Good night, Billy.
Good night.
Hi, fellas.
Where's Sam? Oh, there you are.
Come on now, let's not fight. There's plenty for everybody.
Come on over here. Come on. Come on, over here. Oh, now, boys, there's enough. I don't know what you boys are doing out at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Hey, you catch your death out here. Are you all right?
May the Lord have mercy.
Billy! Billy!
Brother, I don't know why everything happens to me. Okay, come on, get up. Now, come on.
Boy, now you make an effort. I'll find your cap.
We'll have Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island, too. Take off your hat when you hear that sound.
Well, if I do, you'll fall down.
It's lovely going through the zoo. You just don't know, you know that? You just don't know. It's the national anthem, and Mother McCree and Columbia, the gem of the ocean.
Sure.
It's very fancy. I know the Lansing streets, you know. The subway charms us so, where balmy breezes blow to and fro. You're not paying attention.
Look, for the last time, where do you live?
City Hall.
Listen, Nutsy, do you have a home or just a cage?
Great big public cage.
Oh, what's your name?
His Honor the Mayor.
One more silly answer, and I'm going to leave you here to freeze to death.
And tell me what street compares with Mott Street in July. Sweet push carts gently gliding by. Take your hat off when you hear that song.
Oh, go find your own cab. Cab? You want to get yourself killed?
Young lady, young pretty lady, I don't feel very well.
Stray cats, lost puppies, and guys like you. I'll never learn. Now, you stand right there. I'll go phone for a cab. You understand? Oh, 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 there, there. There we go. What? Wait a minute. Stray cats. There we go. That's the one. There we go. There. Oh, man, when I get myself up. Okay. Right there. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Steady. That's the one. Right there, that's right. Whoop, no, no. Over here. That's good. Just a minute. Hello, operator. Would you get me the Checker Cab Company? Yes. No, I can't look it up myself, operator. I've only got 2 hands.
Will I bother you for a glass of water?
Well, that's very funny.
Please.
What's wrong?
The doctors say this may not cure what I've got, but it'll certainly give it an awful scare.
You're sick.
Sick. You don't know. You just don't know.
Here. Here. You better come over here and sit down. I'll call a doctor.
No, don't call anybody.
Oh, over here.
I'll be better.
Oh, but I think you should have somebody. Look.
We'll turn Manhattan into an Isle of Joy.
Sorry, I'm full up. Police.
Sorry, miss, but you can't go in there.
What are you talking about? That's my apartment. There's a man sick in there. The doctor sent me to the drugstore. I had to try 3 different places. Officer, he's very sick. He's just had a hemorrhage.
Lady, the whole police department had a hemorrhage. We've been looking all over town for him.
Miss Compton?
Yes.
All right, then. Miss Compton, my name's Charlie Hand. I'm the mayor's secretary. We'd like to thank you for taking... The mayor's secretary. Well, the doctor notified us. He says that he's out of danger now, and he'll be fine thanks to you.
You mean he is the mayor?
That's right.
Of New York?
Mm-hmm.
The whole city?
Every helpless borough. He won the election.
Well, I'd hate to have met the fellow who lost.
Here you are. The boy's got everything in.
Oh, where am I going?
You name it.
But
This is my apartment. I'm not...
Would you like to take a nice ocean trip for yourself someplace here?
Listen, I live here.
First class.
I said I live here, and I'm going to stay
The
here.
doctor thinks it's a good idea for him not to be moved. You can't stay here. Why not let us find your place?
How about a suite at the Ritz?
Oh, shut up. You and your money. I'll find my own place.
Well, before you go, miss, the mayor would like to talk to you.
Oh, he needn't worry. I won't say anything that might hurt him. I don't want his money either.
Please.
You must be from out of town.
Thank you. I'm sorry I turned out to be a stray cat.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
Just a word of advice. You're a very nice girl, so stop picking up strange mayors and alleyways.
Listen, what kind of a public official are you anyway?
What?
Going to speakeasies and drinking and breaking the law and ruining your health. I have to spend my nights in places like that, but you don't. Don't you have any respect for the position you hold or the people who elected you to it? If you really cared anything about Manhattan, you'd do more than sing about it. Get out of the way, Tom. Okay, come on. You may be the next mayor.
Hello, Chris. Hey, where you been? Mayor's recuperated pretty fast, hasn't he? Here he's making appointments without consulting the powers that be, huh?
Just newspaper talk. The powers that be ain't.
Do we have permission to misquote you?
Sorry, Mr. Nolan, the mayor's in conference.
What's the matter, Chris? Forget your key?
You have a seat?
Delighted.
I just need one friend in the department who can tell me who's getting fat on $2,800 a year.
Jim, I never thought I'd be promoted to inspector until I died and went to heaven.
The whole idea of having Pat is that there isn't a cop in the place. Better take the job now.
All right, Jim.
Oh, hello, Chris. I expected you sooner. I want you to meet an old friend of mine, Captain O'Shea. He's just been made inspector.
A pleasure.
I'll never forget you, Jimmy. You're Billy Walker's boy, all right.
So long, Pat. Don't let any cigars fall out of your hat. Come on in, Chris. You know John Harrison. He was my professor at law school. Just been appointed to the bench.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. I've made it clear to Mayor Walker that I have no strings and no political allegiance. If anyone gets out of line, no matter what his connections, I'm throwing the book at him. Good day.
Bye.
Who recommended that guy? The Republican National Committee?
You know what's going on, Chris. Took me quite a while to get my strength back. And now that I've got it, I want to try it out.
David smites Goliath.
Do we need him?
How much time we got before the ball game?
Well, you're half an hour late now. That's par for the course.
Fine. If I got there in time, they wouldn't know who I was.
All right, Jim, what's the matter? After all these years, do I stink? Is politics a dirty word all of a sudden? Couldn't you do the Hall the courtesy of talking it over?
They wouldn't know what I was talking about.
Okay, we started as ward healers. Maybe we still are. How else do you run a government? How do you think the Republicans operate? Somebody's got to go out and ring those doorbells, and they have to get something for doing it. Without us ward healers, you wouldn't have the Supreme Court of the United States.
I'm not advocating a revolution, Chris. We're 18 blocks from Union Square.
I hear you want the city to build 3 new hospitals.
That's right. The only one in town with a private room is General Grant.
And you're talking about new schools, too. Fine, a great idea. But how are you going to get the appropriations through the Board of Estimate? With mirrors?
Mirrors. I've worked hard, Chris. I've got enough votes to carry it.
Have you checked lately?
This morning.
Not lately enough.
Stan?
Yes, Jim?
When do we go into the next Board of Estimate meeting?
Tomorrow afternoon.
I can count on your vote, can't I?
Well, Jim, I want to talk to you about that.
You just did. Charlie, get a hold of Frankenheimer.
Yeah.
He's at my club taking a steam bath.
Aren't we all?
Well?
My appointment's Stan.
How about our appointments?
All right, Chris. They say in the movies we need each other.
Okay. Just so we understand the facts of life. And remember, you can't really run a city on brotherly love. Not even Philadelphia.
Let's get to the ball game.
Why bother? You just threw it.
Let me tell you something, Charlie. A lot of things I want to do for my town. And To get him done, I'll play ball with Tammany or the devil himself.
The devil. Now, what is this, Act 2 of Faust?
Yeah, tell Mephistopheles I'll sell my soul for a decent sewer system. You'll find him down there somewhere. What's this, McGillis?
That's a little complicated. I'll fill you in. There's two companies bidding on the bus franchise.
Yeah, I know. Ajax and Knickerbocker, yeah. Ajax has the best bid, but they've never on a bus line.
Yeah, that's right.
They give them a franchise, in a year or so, Ajax will be in the hole, and they'll be screaming to raise the fares, and the subways will join them. As long as I'm mayor of this city, it's only going to cost the people a nickel for a subway ride. Let's get some more bids.
Must have been doing a lot of reading down that beach.
Oh, nice catch, babe.
How about that roof?
What a team, those Yankees. Huggins has another sure pennant winner. Huggins, the manager.
Good to see you, Jimmy. How's Florida?
Great if you're an orange. When's the new show open, Bernie?
September. Anybody can get to the opening. That traffic on 45th Street's murder.
Yeah, I know. I'd like 45th to be a one-way street.
I'd light candles for you if that was my religion.
Done. Make a note of that. Dangerous traffic hazard. Oh, they're getting to our pictures. Why doesn't somebody tell Huggins to send Hoyt in?
You're the mayor. You tell him.
Hey, Bernie, you can do a little favor for me. There's a girl I...
She's in. Aren't we blood brothers? Tell her to be at chorus rehearsal 3:30 tomorrow. Or whenever she gets up. I know you got a great eye for talent.
No, not in the chorus, Bernie. I want you to give her a featured role.
A featured role? This kid's got a lot of talent, hasn't she? I bet she doesn't get up at all.
No, it's nothing like that. I'm just returning a kindness.
Jimmy, look, we're in rehearsal now. I mean, I've got a temperamental star. Look, I can't louse up my whole show for some girl that you want.
Forget it. Well, we're only old boyhood chums. Grew up together. Swam bear off 14th Street Pier. Roasted Mickeys on 2nd Avenue.
I'm all choked up, but no featured role.
We swore a terrible oath to destroy each other if we ever went back on our word.
So destroy me. Did I cross my heart and hope to die? Want a hot dog?
I don't accept bribes.
There are blossoms on Broadway when I'm walking with you. Lovely, isn't it? Blossoms where trees never grew. I forget the crowd and the loud and all the bright lights fade into stars. There is magic on Broadway when you're smiling.
Hey, officer! What are they doing? They're looking for the sword. Who lost it? I got a show opening here September 8th. How's the traffic going to move? When are they going to finish this job? September 9th.
Mr. Williams!
Get me the mayor on the phone. I'm not going to get pushed around.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Williams, there's a Captain Dennis from the fire department wants to see you.
Send him in. Never grew. I forget
What
the
is it?
crowd and
Sammy, shut up!
You don't like it.
Oh, it's a lot of things, sir. Inadequate electrical wiring, definite fire hazard, and you'll have to put in 4 more fire exits.
Okay, I'll cut him through the walls.
Oh, in that case, sir, the building department will have to condemn this structure as unsafe.
Mr. Williams, there's a gentleman here to see you from the Board of Health, and I've got the mayor on the phone.
Hello, Jimmy. This is your blood brother. What's her name?
Compton. Compton. Betty Compton.
You don't have to talk so loud. It's very quiet around here now.
Oh, yes, sir. Are you sure you have the right Betty Compton? It all came as such a surprise. It seems like a dream.
If it only were. Sing, Miss Compton. You do sing, don't you?
Yes, of course. That's my business.
I must say you do quite a business, Miss Compton. Sing.
April.
That's it. You got the jug.
But I only sang 3 notes.
What notes? Beautiful, pear-shaped, well-rounded. Talent sticks out all over you. You've got a great future. Go see Billy about the costumes.
Don't you even want to see me dance?
Sorry. Dance, Miss Compton. Great, that's enough.
You weren't even watching my feet.
I saw you could lift them. It was more than I expected.
I don't know what's going on around here, but I certainly don't like it.
You're not alone.
Are you sure you've been in this business before? This is a very haphazard way to put a Broadway musical together. You're not even interested in whether I can perform.
I know you can perform. Keep up the good work.
I'm not going to take this job.
Please, you can't fight City Hall. All right, girls, let's go. Everybody, right over here.
Look, Arthur's the biggest operator in Wall Street.
Don't pass this up, Jim. It's a fool arrangement that's surefire.
Yeah, but I don't have that kind of cash.
Well, the stock set aside for your share has already gone up enough to pay for itself.
It won't cost you a dime. Everybody and his sister's getting in on it.
Yeah, but everybody and his sister isn't mayor.
I don't expect any favors, Jim. You know I don't either.
But the whole world's in the market. It's like breathing.
Okay, we're partners. Don't come around here with any traffic tickets.
Jim.
Miss Compton.
May I see you for a minute? Please, it's very important.
I'll meet you later at Leone's. After you? Well, this is an unexpected pleasure. Hey, what's the idea? Sit down here.
No.
We'll talk things over.
No.
Whatever there is to talk over. What is this? I've been slapped before, but never without just and reasonable cause.
I'm not the mayor's girlfriend.
Well, who said you were?
Everybody. You tore up a whole street to get me a job.
You were kind to me once. I was merely trying to repay you.
Did it ever occur to you, Mr. Walker, that some people are kind because they want to be, because they expect to be paid for it?
Hasn't come up lately.
Well, I just want you to know I'm not going to take that job, so don't go tearing up any more streets. It won't get you any place at all.
Well, sit down, Miss Compton.
No.
Here. Sit down. Maybe you've been in show business too long. I wasn't trying to get any place.
Do you know I had to move out of my room in the village? Kids were beginning to write things on the sidewalk.
Sorry, if there's anything I can do.
Just leave me alone. That shouldn't be too difficult. You should know a lot of girls who voted for you.
Wait a minute. Look, how old are you?
23 of the wisest years you ever met.
I'm twice your age. Don't tell me I don't look it.
I wasn't going to.
I was going to get involved with a girl. It wouldn't be the kind who was looking for a home and children and a white picket fence. You are, aren't you?
Isn't every girl?
I haven't met every girl, but I don't think so. And according to the last census, I'm listed as a married man. I'm not going to argue with Uncle Sam. I've got a wife, and we both go to church. I'm up on top of this building in a big white spotlight. I'd have to be terribly foolish to get myself involved with a girl like you. I'm caught in a great big marble mousetrap. I gotta rattle around in it as long as I'm in public office. I gotta rattle around alone. You take that job back. It's on the house.
Just a minute. Mr. Mayor.
You say that, smile. Everybody else does.
I'm not really 23. I'm only 22. But now I feel about 12.
You don't know how I envy you.
I guess if I had any manners at all, I would take that job. Good night.
Good night.
I may even vote for you myself.
Ready? Let's go out the back. I want to get as far away from her as possible. I don't believe a word I said.
Where you been? I held the curtain 15 minutes waiting for you.
Well, I'm sorry. I got jammed up in Times Square. I forgot this is a one-way street now.
As handsome to my heart, he carries the key. Won't you tell him, please, to put on some speed? Follow my lead. Oh, how I need someone to watch over me. There's a somebody I'm longing to see. I hope that he turns out to be someone to watch over me. I'm a little lamb who's lost in the wood. I know I could always be good to one who'll watch over me. Although he may not be the man some girls think of as handsome, to my heart he carries the key.
You leaving?
Won't you tell him, please, to put on some speed?
You staying?
Bernie, I've just discovered there are some things even City Hall can't fight.
Won't you tell him, please, to put on some speed? Follow my lead. Oh, how I need someone to watch over
Everything goes fast in the big city, including time. 1926, 1927, and 1928 have shimmied by, festooned in ticker tape. And now, it is October 29th, 1929. Oh, do I remember.
And as Election Day draws near, we ask the voters this question. How long will New York City be amused by its musical comedy mayor, James J. Walker of Miami and Paris, who spent 1/3 of his first 4 years in office on vacation while raising his salary by $15,000?
Think how much it would cost if I worked full-time.
Pay attention, will you, Jim? It's going to be a tough election. Fusion parties showing this picture at every one of their rallies.
This is the decade of delirium in America, of flagpole sitters and marathon dancers and speakeasy, and of a songwriting mayor who has never been on time for anything in his life except a ball game.
I hope nobody steals any bases. They'll blame that on me, too.
Yes, they've cheered Jimmy Walker when he's paraded through the streets with Lucky Lindy at his side, or Queen Marie of Romania, or Admiral Byrd. And all the time, Jimmy thought the cheers were for him because he'd managed to get up that morning.
It wasn't easy.
This is a man who ranks high in the councils of his party.
It is my privilege and my honor to place in nomination as a candidate for the governorship of the state of New York my good friend, that great American, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
But while he plays in politics or joins Grover Whalen in welcoming celebrities, east side, west side, all around the town, the boys play Ring Around Rosie. when a gambler named Arnold Rothstein is murdered, the crime goes unpunished while Jimmy shakes up the police department. One more shake-up and they'll be right back where they started from. As a welcome contrast, the Fusion Party presents its candidate, Congressman Fiorello H. LaGuardia.
Expect any relief from any administration controlled by district leaders.
I like this guy.
I can run on a laundry ticket and beat these political bums anytime.
He's almost convinced me. We got a real fight on our hands.
Put the political rascals out of office and took over the government into their own hands.
Hey, what's going on?
It's the market. It dropped $5 billion this morning.
What?
If you've got any cash, you better get down there and cover. You too.
Coming, Jim?
I don't have any cash. I'm only the mayor.
Well, then raise some. You'll be wiped out. Our joint account was gone in 10 minutes.
Look, Arthur, I've only got one rule about money. If you have to worry about it, don't have any. Let's get on with the picture.
Well, Jimmy, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
On Election Tuesday, November 1929, the city was snowbound. From Wall Street up, there was frost on AT&T and icicles on Anaconda Copper. Everybody had been caught in the stock market freeze. All New York was out in the cold. But like the lady in the harbor, some had a torch to keep them warm.
Will you love me in December,
Jim,
as you do in May?
you do need money terribly, don't you?
It's a national epidemic. I forgot to get vaccinated.
Well, I'm doing pretty well now, and I got out of the market just in time. Let me lend you some.
No. If I don't get reelected, you can buy me breakfast some morning.
Every morning.
You know, my town is wearing the same kind of outfit you have on. Black and white.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? Reminds me of Canada when I was a little girl.
That was last year, wasn't it?
I never dreamed then that I'd be offering money to the mayor of New York.
I never dreamed I'd be refusing it.
I still don't know how to fix that. All I wanted was a good, solid grocer for a husband. 5 or 6 kids. And a white picket fence.
By the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of New York, I now pronounce this man and wife.
What grocer could have done that for me?
It's not much of a marriage. My authority only extends to the city limits.
I'm not going anywhere.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should run like a thief. Maybe this whole thing will come to no good. It's still only a nickel subway ride out of town.
And what have you got when you get there? Nothing but grocers.
Do you know how to use the new voting machine, Mr. Mayor?
I ought to. LaGuardia says I'm a machine politician. Have you thought over what I asked you?
No divorce. We were both married in the church. We knew it was for life. Still is for me.
Ours hasn't been a marriage for years, and you know it.
I haven't interfered in your personal life, have I, Jim? Don't destroy your public life.
Hold it. Let's have a smile.
She's very pretty, Jim.
What is it, officer?
The mayor doesn't want you to catch cold.
Oh, no, wait a minute. No, put me down. I've got to get back to the second act.
He's right over there. Here she is, Jim.
Thanks, Harry.
What's this all about?
I wanted you to be the first to know. It was a landslide, over 500,000 plurality.
Congratulations, Jim.
Oh, don't jump up and down. I thought you'd be very happy.
I am if you are. Just take care of your health.
I never felt better. I've got to go up to the casino for a big victory celebration. I'll sneak out right after the speeches.
I'll be waiting. Oh, leave me alone. I hope I catch pneumonia.
Hey, what's wrong? What are you upset about?
Nothing much. Just the next 4 years.
Well, he's 2 hours late now. He's breaking part tonight.
Isn't the mayor showing up for his own celebration?
He built this place, doesn't he? Know how to find it?
Maybe Jimmy wants to give back the election.
Okay, wise guys, here he comes now. Step on it, will you, Jim? We've been waiting since...
Give the little lady a hand.
Drive someplace fast.
Forget it.
What's she doing here?
Jimmy, I told you.
Betty and I are going in there together.
Jim, Al Smith, Roosevelt, the whole party's inside. You walk in there with her, you're an ex-Democrat.
I was reelected because I told the public I was honest. I might as well tell the truth about everything.
You give the people too much truth, they'll hate you.
It's Jim Walker's life I'm living, Chris. It's not LaGuardia's life, nor Benjamin Franklin, nor Carrie Nation's. It's my own. I have to be a sneak to get votes. You can count me out right now.
8, 9, 10. How do you like it?
Out of my way, Mr. Nolan. I'm taking my girl dancing at the Central Park Casino.
What's wrong with Macy's window?
We may go there next. Watch your step. Hello, boys. What's new?
Well, that's the shortest second term I ever saw.
Better go in and pick up the pieces. Here goes Humpty Dumpty.
You're trembling.
Well, it's cold out here.
This is nothing. Wait till you get inside.
Jim, thank you.
Hold it.
Mr. Mayor, any comment on the graft charges?
Has Seabury got you worried?
He's been investigating now for over 18 months and hasn't turned up anything but his collar. Thanks, Tom.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Charlie.
It's supposed to be good morning. You've missed 3 appointments.
Quiet, or they'll be investigating my alarm clock.
One of them was important.
I ought to rewrite that tune and put it in Betty's key.
Her key is what got you into trouble.
You too?
Oh, Jim, there are some things a politician can fight, but the church isn't one of them.
No one has more respect for the church than I have.
You're a married man. Worse than that, you're a married mayor.
Allie and I are only united in the holy bonds of politics.
You'll find there's nothing holier than that.
I'll match my private life with any man's.
Any man. Like Henry VIII?
Charlie, I can't give Betty up. She's the best thing that ever happened to me.
She's the worst. Jim, you've done a great deal for this city. You've made it into a modern town. We've got the best schools and the best hospitals in the country right here. You've done more working 2 hours a day than the past 4 mayors combined. Now, don't you want to keep on doing that?
In my own fashion.
Well, your own fashion just isn't fashionable anymore, Jim. They're selling apples on street corners. The voters have stopped laughing. And Seabury's going to start asking you some very embarrassing questions.
Oh, now we're getting down to facts. In spite of my enviable record, you think I've been on the take?
No. I wouldn't have stuck with you this long if I hadn't been sure you were honest.
Thanks.
But there are some people around here I'm not so sure of. And being honest, Jim, doesn't protect you from being stupid.
Yeah, well, if you're so clever, what are you doing working for a stupid mayor?
Now that you bring the subject up, I think somebody in this administration ought to get a divorce. I'd like to arrange ours.
Is this what they call leaving a sinking ship?
No. No, the ship's all right. But the captain doesn't know his fore from his aft.
You got a better job?
Governor Roosevelt asked me to work for him on his campaign.
He's a good man.
Mm. Of course, he's not much of a governor. He never wrote a song.
All right, Charlie. But stop worrying about Seabury. He can't touch me. I'm clean.
Oh? Jim, you used to toss money around pretty good. How many suits you got? 40, 50?
Fella's got to look neat.
Where'd all that money come from?
Some people in Wall Street opened a joint account for me.
Oh. Why?
They like me.
They liked you. Well, I believe that, Jim, because I like you. But when you get on that witness stand, that's going to sound like Alice in Wonderland.
I have friends who can prove it.
Oh, what friends? Chris Nolan? You get on that stand, he'll be in the balcony yelling, hang the bum. Now, Jim, those friends you think you have, you lost them all at Central Park Casino.
Well, that's it then. You can tell the boys in the press room your resignation is accepted with regret.
On both sides. Jim, when they call you on the stand, if you need any help...
Thanks, Charlie. There's 3 things a man has to do by himself. Be born, die, and testify. 1 down and 2 to go.
Mr. Vasselli, is it a fact that as an ordinary city building inspector, you deposited in your personal account last year $243,000? Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Now, would you tell the committee and myself where that money came from?
Well, I had it at home.
At home?
Yeah, at home. In a tin box. For an emergency.
If there's any more like him, the emergency's here.
Let me ask you this, Captain. Your salary from the city of New York is $5,000 per year. Yet, in 1931, you deposited in your private bank account the sum of $58,000. Did you have any other source of income? Did you?
Well, we rented out a room.
Either we're in trouble or the rents are too high in this town.
Would you be kind enough to tell us why a patrolman like you had to have 2 safety deposit boxes?
I'm afraid of burglars.
Who's handling the recruiting for the police force? Fagan?
Jim, we're being crucified.
A couple of bad apples don't spoil the barrel.
Will Inspector O'Shea take the stand, please? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sit down.
Just picture a penthouse way up in the sky with hinges on chimneys for stars to go by. A sweet slice of heaven for just you and I. When we're alone from all of society, we'll stay aloof and live in propriety there on the roof. 2 heavenly hermits we will be in truth. When we're
I called you 2 hours ago to come over to the hall. Don't you know you're in trouble?
Shh. You don't need me. You got the best legal brains in the city to handle the defense.
All your brains are up on that stage. You got to get rid of that broad quick.
I knew that melody would find your heart. Did you get a hold of Judge Harrison?
I lost my Ouija board. Here. He took 200 grand from his bank account and headed for Mexico. Your old professor.
He's younger than I thought. This town would corrupt the angels. Get Wilson to open up all my records for the court. They'll answer for every nickel and dime.
Wilson, he's on the Mauritania, headed for Europe.
Join the party and see the world.
You've got to get rid of her. She's no good for you. We can help you, Jim, but not against St. Patrick's Cathedral.
I was raised in the church, Chris. I want to die in it.
Well, you're on your way. They're holding prayer meetings against you all over town. You're running second to Judas Iscariot.
Look who I've got for a jockey.
All right. I didn't want to tell you this, but I have to. We tapped her telephone line.
You're a liar.
We got some records between her and one of her boyfriends almost melted to wax.
I know you and your recordings. You've got one of Amy Semple McPherson that ends with vote for 3.2 beer.
Jim.
You couldn't understand the kind of girl Betty is. I don't want to hear any more.
Jim, listen to me.
Take your hands off the suit.
Who bought you the suit? Who owns it? Who owns you?
Nobody, and they never have.
Don't you believe it. We own you and we're stuck with you. Now, we can kill this investigation before it gets to Albany, and a lot of people get hurt. But not if you keep on playing Romeo and Juliet on the steps of City Hall.
Thanks for the advice. I can't think of anyone less qualified to give it.
Listen, Fancy Dan, I'm your friend, and you don't even know it. When you didn't bother to show up tonight, they wanted you to quit. I'm trying to save your job for you.
What's frightening you and the rest of the boys? Are there a couple of tin boxes Seabury hasn't found yet? Maybe a tin bushel basket?
Maybe you better resign, Jimmy, before they dump you.
They're not dumping anybody. They gotta have me up front to run interference. I may be the only guy that's clean in the whole organization. Stupid, but clean. You gotta back me up all the way down the line, and I gotta stand by you. Loyal, steady friends. True blue to the end. Better get up in the part.
Where's the telephone?
Outer lobby.
Miss Compton?
Yes.
I'm the non-existent Mrs. Walker.
Yes, I know. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
Sorry I look such a mess.
Anyone as young as you are never looks a mess.
I suppose Mr. Nolan suggested you drop by.
He did everything but get out the wild horses. But I was coming anyway.
Don't you think if I could give Jimmy up, I'd have done so long ago?
He's so charming and Irish and irresponsible, isn't he?
And more.
I hate to sound so old-fashioned. But doesn't it mean anything to you that you're breaking up a marriage?
I never wanted to. Well, it was broken up long before I came into the picture.
Not in the eyes of the church. You've heard of the church, haven't you?
Yes.
I know you love Jim. I guess half of New York knows it by now. But unless you walk away from him, he's finished in public life.
I'm praying for it. He's been pushed into politics since he was 6 years old, and it's made a sick man of him. My only ambition for Jim is to make him happy. I guess I'm more old-fashioned than you.
What kind of happiness can you have together? You put him in front of a fireplace with slippers and a pipe, and he'll dissolve before your eyes. Without those striped pants and that top hat and a few well-chosen phrases, he'll shrivel up. He's got to have the brass bands and the cheers and the motorcycle escort and throwing out the first ball. There's his one true love, the cockeyed city of New York.
Is it possible that you can be married to a man for 18 years and still not know him?
Well, of course he was never home much.
Whose fault was that?
It's always the woman's. Why have I stayed with him all these years? I could have divorced him and destroyed his career, but I didn't. I stayed in the background. I took long trips to Florida to stay out of the way. When he was going around openly with another girl, I kept quiet and locked my door against the press. You think it'll be difficult to give him up and go away from him. It's much more difficult to give him up and stay with him, hoping someday he'll come back. I suppose you're the only girl who ever fell in love.
I'm just beginning to realize I'm not.
I'll save a place for you in Florida. It's lovely there. In that damn sunshine.
Seabury wasn't the only one who had Jimmy on the griddle. That night, his friends of the Lambs Club were roasting him and his police force to a delicate brown.
Anything wrong?
Just trying to imagine you with slippers and a pipe. Doesn't fit.
Here's the fancy talker, James J. Walker, His Honor, the Mayor of New York.
The mayor of New York, a servant of the people all the way. The salary a mayor gets is real conservative. Sometimes I feel like turning down the measly sum they give. I only take the dough because my tailor has to live, which means I go without. Anytime you hear a champagne cork, you're sure to see the mayor of New York, James J. His Honor, the mayor of New York. As a dresser, I am dapper, always ready with a snapper. Don't nobody ad-lib with me. I got a million of them, a million of them. Unlike mayors of most cities, I write laws and I write ditties. Here's a sample of my latest melody. The Paggio, please. Who sent for him? Wait a minute. Get off the stage. I work alone.
Everybody in town must be in the show.
How are they going to keep you off the stage?
They aren't. I've been rehearsing for a week.
Longer than that, Jim.
I am His Honor, the mayor of New York. I'm James J. Walker, that fancy talker. His Honor, the mayor of New York. That's who His Honor, the mayor of New York. East side, west side, all around the town. The cops are picking up everything that isn't nailed down.
Now, wait a minute. Take your hat off when you sing that song.
Everybody wants to get into the act.
Well, you do every song like it's an opening number. Why don't you put a little schmaltz in this one?
Schmaltz? I regret to say I do not understand the patois.
From the heart. This city's been pretty good to you, hasn't it, Jimmy?
It certainly has. I was born behind a saloon, and here I am talking back to the mayor.
Who was also born behind a saloon.
The traffic was pretty heavy back there, wasn't it?
Yeah, so give the city a break, even if you're only singing a song about it.
If you can do it any better, come on up here and show us. You might as well. You're on trial all over town.
I prefer the jury here. Go on up, Jim. Go on.
Jim, suppose I ask you not to go up there.
What?
Just leave New York with me now and open up a grocery store somewhere. What would you say?
Leave New York? Where else is there?
Nowhere.
want to thank all of you for paying $25 a plate to honor a guy they're trying to hang an indictment on. And I can assure you one thing, this is not a going-away party. There's one town in this world I never intend to leave. I think that's a song cue.
I'm with you all the way.
East side, west side, all around the town. The kids play Ring-a-Rosie. London Bridge is falling down. Boys and girls together. Me and Mamie O'Rourke.
Let's turn the lights down, huh?
Trip the light fantastic on the sidewalks of New York. East side. Hushed, trip the light fantastic on the sidewalks of New York.
Well, what are you waiting for? We need all the help we can get.
East side, west side, all around the town. The tots sang Ring-a-Rosie. London Bridge is falling down.
Great show, wasn't it? I'll fix us a drink. What do you want, milk on the rocks?
Jim,
Yeah?
I'm not going to see you again.
You've been making jokes like that all evening.
They're not jokes. I lost my girlish laughter quite a while back.
Well, what's wrong? Have I done something?
Wrong? What do you think is wrong? What's been wrong from the beginning?
Well, it's furniture, for one thing.
Everything you warned me about has come true. You're too old for me, Jim. You're old, old, old!
You knew you weren't getting mixed up with Peter Pan. I didn't come in on a wire.
It isn't funny. It stopped being funny a long time ago.
Maybe what you need is a drink.
Will you get out of here and leave me alone?
No, I can't. It's too late for that. I'm still staggering down that alley with my arm around your shoulder.
I can't feel sorry anymore. I can't. I've got to think of myself.
Who is it? Don't think I haven't been expecting it. Every morning when I shave, I have to look at this face in the mirror. The mirror seems to be getting very tired lately. I'm gonna have to get a new mirror.
He's young and he's handsome and he's not in politics.
Kid's got a good platform.
Of course, he isn't very clever. Second night he went out with me, he offered me a ring. He could have waited years.
I can't fight that.
Can't you?
Not for a while.
Forever.
Maybe not forever.
Well, I'm afraid I'm not interested in waiting that long, so why don't you go back to your girlfriends? Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, and Queens.
When's the wedding?
What do you care? You're not giving the bride away.
That's your opinion.
Get out of here before I call a cop to throw you out, if there are any still working.
Whoever he is, he's not half good enough.
Please, not another speech.
Goodbye. Did I ever tell you I love you?
Drive to capture the Democratic Party's nomination for the presidency of the United States has come to a close. And now they're parading down the aisles for Governor Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Listen to that campaign song.
What's this crazy kid done now?
Sleeping pills. Do you know how many cases like this we get in a week? I bet I've been out about 6 times.
Save it for the medical journal. Is she okay?
Yeah, she didn't have enough to do any damage. You know, I bet I've been out about...
Sure.
I never was any good at taking pills. They stick in my throat.
But at least you had sense enough to tell him to call me. No report on this, understand?
You understand? We've been on the force a long time, Mr. Nolan.
Okay. Just keep your nose clean. Now clear out everybody. That means you too, Doc.
All right, just get her on her feet and keep her walking. She'll be all right.
Wish I could say the same for us.
You know how many cases like this I've been on?
6.
That's right.
I'll write your congressman. Now, Blow, will you get him out of here? Go on. Well?
I just wanted to help him.
Yeah, sure. Right in the ash can. He'd be finished for life. Come on. Up on your toes, like the doctor said. Come on, get up. You got to keep moving. That's all there is to it.
Gotta get her out of town, Chris. There's a boat to Havana. We can get
And have her do the same thing in Cuba. They sell sleeping pills everywhere, you know.
We better get her out of here if Jimmy finds out.
I know. Here, drink some more of this. It's good for you.
I told him I was getting married. Honey.
Did he believe you?
Well, why not? Every girl wants a home, children, a white picket fence. So I've been told.
Well, why don't you?
What?
Get married.
So easy, isn't it? People do it every day.
Gets him right off the hook.
I'm the only one who's on the hook.
You'll be married by the captain on the boat. Take a trip to Cuba.
Mother would be so pleased.
Get a coat. We gotta move fast. You get on the phone and check on a steamer. How do you feel?
12 years old again. I never lost a fellow to a city before, Chris. I guess I was overmatched.
That's a good girl.
Yeah. This is your coat?
Now is the time for all good girls to come to the aid of the party.
That's right.
Happy days are here again, the skies above are clear.
Listen, Chris, every Irishman in New York is on Fifth Avenue. We can't hold up the whole St. Patrick's Day parade.
Walker will be here in a moment.
Well, he'd better be. If we wait any longer, we'll be running right into Paso.
We'll parade again for that. Maybe they found him. You got him?
Yeah, but it won't do any good. He's still broken up about that dame. The last 10 blocks he's been singing Melancholy Baby.
He'll get over it.
He hasn't even been to sleep for a week. He's sick. We ought to get him to a doctor.
How many votes will that get us? You okay, Jim?
You ever been in love, Chris, except for that derby?
You can change your hat. Forget that broad. She dumped you, so what? Now listen to me, will you, Jim? We got a chance of pulling you out of that fire.
Yeah, into that great big frying pan in Albany.
That's the whole idea. Roosevelt wants to be president. Give me his topper. If you can get that crowd cheering for you, he wouldn't dare send for you for a hearing on Seabury's charges.
That's your opinion.
He needs New York State. To carry the state, he needs New York City. Now, you go out there and show him who owns it.
Yeah, with 2,000 cops behind me. All of them out on bail. Look at them. Even the horses look like they're on the take.
Jimmy boy, let's get going.
Come on.
What's your hurry? You got to report to your probation officer?
You're the only one who can swing that crowd for us.
Jimmy's right.
Don't do it for me, Jim. But Billy Walker wouldn't have wanted his son to go out crawling.
I'll try it for a block.
That up, boy.
They'll be throwing rocks all the way.
Don't you believe it?
You got a handkerchief?
Yes, here. Take that. Pull yourself together now. Hey, don't take your coat off. You'll freeze.
I want him to know it's Jimmy Walker. Dead or alive.
Make it?
I'm a little rocky. Wish that horse had stopped showing me up.
Hey, Nolan, when you come to the East River, keep walking.
How come you ain't Palm Beach in this weather?
Natives are muttering.
Only 40 more blocks to go.
Good going, Jim. Only a half hour late.
Jimmy, catch!
Well, thank you, ma'am. I thought they were lilies.
Hey, Jimmy, watch out for those cops.
Hide your wallet.
99% of them are honest. What's the average in your business? None of us are perfect, and I ought to know.
We're with you, kid. Don't let them run you out of town, Jimmy.
When I go, the town goes with me. I think they'll stand for anything. Tell the band to play Will You Love Me in December.
Will you love me in December?
Hello, New York. I love every crummy inch of you.
Jim, I think we got it made.
We can get past St. Patrick's without being struck by lightning. I may run for president.
I've been chasing you for 8 blocks. Your officer sent this up to you. Said to get it to you right away.
Governor Franklin D. Roosevelt orders you to appear
On charges of malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance.
You want to drop out?
Not on your life. This may be my last parade.
Jimmy, how about getting me a seat at the hearing?
I'll gladly give you mine.
What happened to the $600,000 in the Wilson account?
I hope they can prove it belongs to me. I can use the money.
Hey, Jimmy, who's the girl?
Friend of the family. First you left.
Mrs. Walker, can we have a smile?
Today you certainly can.
You're a brave girl, Allie.
You're a lot of things, and I've called you all of them. But you're not a thief. And I'll fight any man who says you are, including the governor.
Hang on, it's going to be a rough ride.
Any statement, Mr. Walker?
Stand back.
I must ask you again to confine yourself to the evidence. I promised the mayor a square deal, and I assure you he is going to get it. However, I must have the answers to Mr. Seabury's charges that he accepted stocks and bonds from the individual's name.
And I say to you, sir, who has proven that this money ever reached the mayor's hands? Who saw these transactions take place? Nobody. By hearsay and innuendo. Your Excellency, my client, who is a distinguished lawyer in his own right, has asked permission to conduct his own defense. Are you agreeable?
The mayor is certainly entitled to that privilege. You may proceed, Mr. Walker.
Your Excellency, of course I took the money. These were gifts, stock transactions, in which I was generously and unwisely included by my friends. I was told if I stood up here under oath and swore that no favors were given or expected for this generosity, I would sound like Alice in Wonderland. Maybe it does sound like fantasy for a man to declare himself both a politician and an honest man. But Your Excellency is a politician also. As for those who brought these charges against me, I'm certain you're familiar with the story of Susanna and the elders who accused this lady of impropriety with a third person. Daniel questioned each of the elders separately, then asked where they had seen this act take place. The first said under the mastic tree. The second said under the yew tree. Whereupon the council put to death not Susanna, but her accusers. Your Excellency, if I am not in the position of Susanna, I certainly feel like it. I've given most of my life to a political career. I've been in it so long now, I've rather grown attached to it. I like being mayor of New York as much as my father thought I would. If there were a scintilla of doubt in my mind, or yet in my heart, about the honesty, about the accomplishments, and about the affection that went with it, if there were any doubt in my mind about my public official record as mayor of that great city, I would not be imposing upon your generosity in allowing me to plead my own case. I stand here with an easy conscience and the knowledge within myself that no matter whether misunderstood or not, I did the best I could. I'd like to read it sometime. I don't remember a word I said.
Sure tied Roosevelt's hands. What did he say when you finished?
Papa made me eat my spinach, but I think I got to him.
The governor has no choice now. I was very proud of my Jim. He came of age.
It was a long childhood.
Another belt, Jim?
Lieutenant Governor says no.
It's been a long day, and Jim has to make a speech at Yankee Stadium tomorrow. We're going to get some rest.
When did that happen?
I think it's just about to.
I never realized how powerful the Democratic Party was.
Coming in?
You think the porter will believe we're married?
Question is, will you?
Hey, Jim, that was a great speech, boy, a great speech. Yes, sir, you know what you were doing every minute of the time. The old shell game. Now you see it, now you don't. That's what I call thinking on your feet, boy.
Whose side are you on?
Well, your side, Jim, your side. The side of law and order and the angels. 5-cent fare for the people and $200 suits for the mayor. Even Stephen.
Come on, Jim, it's getting late.
Now, you didn't know what was going on inside your administration, Jim. It wasn't your fault. You were doing the best you could, boy, the best you could. Or were you?
What's eating you, Charlie?
The kind of politician that you people wouldn't even understand has been placed in the hottest spot in history. Now, if Roosevelt keeps a little mayor in office, he loses the anti-Tammany vote. However, if he gives our Jimmy the little boot that he so richly deserves, he loses Tammany. Either way, he splits the Democratic ticket right down the middle. Loses the state of New York and probably the presidency. Congratulations, Jim. Whatever happens, you've licked a man you shouldn't even be in the same party with.
Don't be so certain. We've all got great plans for Jim. We may be talking to the next governor.
Yeah. Just think how far Abraham Lincoln could have gone if he'd given the people Sunday baseball. Keep fighting for the right, boy.
He's changed, Jim.
May be the season for it. Good night, Ellen.
The center field flagpole for the ceremonies are Earl Cole, Ben Chapman.
Hi, Bernie. How's the new show coming?
It'll run longer than yours.
Kind of chilly. Everybody seems to be avoiding me since I got back from Albany.
A mayor should never admit he took money, no matter what his excuse.
You know New York. Hero one day has been the next.
Bourgeois that always loved Jimmy.
Mr. Mayor, any comment on Betty Compton's divorce?
What are you talking about?
Hadn't you heard? In Cuernavaca, Mexico. He's headed back to New York. Marriage lasted 21 days. Any comment, Mayor?
Yes, and you can quote me. I think the Yankees will win.
To dedicate the monument to the late, great manager of the New York Yankees, Miller Huggins. We call upon the beloved mayor of the city of New York, the Honorable James J. Walker.
Get out of town! Come on, Walker, go back! You know good bum. Beat it.
Maybe they think I'm going to umpire.
Always loved Jimmy.
A long time ago, I wrote a song called Will You Love Me in December? The answer is no. In baseball, you're cheered for a home run one day, booed if you strike out the next. Guess the trouble with me is I used to cheer when I hit a pop fly. I've lived and I've loved. I suppose I was a little more public about it than most people. But I want New York to know this. In all my life, I never knowingly took a dime dishonestly. In my entire official career, I never did anything wrong. But doing nothing wrong is not enough. I should have done a few more things right. Graft and dishonesty flourished in an administration where the mayor was too busy to show up. Little Miller Huggins was only the manager of a ball team. But he showed up on time every day for 11 years and made it the greatest team in history. He was only 5'4", but he was a foot taller than I feel right now. I once said if I ever did anything to hurt the city I love, I'd turn in my uniform. And I can't think of a more fitting place to do it than right here at the ballpark, where I spent more time than I did at City Hall. I'm going to send in my resignation, effective immediately, to City Clerk Michael J. Cruz. Goodbye. But remember this. The voters always get what they deserve. I wasn't the only chump in this city. It took a lot of you to elect me.
Gentlemen, you've just seen a man cut his own throat in the middle of Yankee Stadium.
And never was it done more gracefully.
imagine the city clerk is waiting for that, Joe. I've just got one more official act. I'm going to issue a statement blasting Roosevelt to bits. That ought to get him a lot more votes.
You're finished in politics, Jim. I understand you're leaving the country.
First boat that'll have me.
Good. I'll give you your regards to Broadway.
What makes you think you'll still be here?
I'm always here. It's the glory boys like you that come and go.
Don't be so sure. Voters are wising up, Chris. We're both at the end of an era. A couple of Louis XIV chairs in the world of tomorrow. Sit in that swivel again. Maybe your last chance.
Running away won't solve anything for you, Jimmy. Neither would a divorce.
I didn't say I wanted one.
What do you think your speech was about? Politics.
Betty wouldn't want me back, and I wouldn't ask her.
You never know what you're going to do until you do it. Lived your whole life off the cuff. You'll ask her. There's nothing I can do to stop you.
I'm sorry I didn't turn out to be the fellow you married.
Isn't it a shame? Kittens and Irishmen have to grow up. As if you ever did.
Allie.
Don't say goodbye to me, Jim. You wouldn't want to see a girl crying on the steps of City Hall.
Hey, you. You want to catch your death?
When I didn't see you at the pier, I figured maybe you hadn't gotten my wire. And I figured maybe you had.
You can run away from that girlfriend, but not this one.
You sure you know what you're doing? I'm broke. Haven't even got subway fare. No political future. Had to borrow money for the boat ticket. Haven't written a hit song in 18 years. Why would you want to marry a guy like that?
You don't know. You know that? You just don't know.
But you know.
I don't care if you're never a success with anybody but me. I can't offer you anything except perhaps a family and a little happiness. That seems to be going out of style.
Maybe we can bring it back.
Only I warn you, if we have a son, I don't want him to grow up to be president.
Neither do I. After all, who'd want to be president when he can be mayor of New York? So long, sweetheart.
And so Jimmy sailed away from his one true love and into years of exile and wandering. But in Gene Fowler's affectionate words, the memory of him is green. The love for him is warm. He is a legend now, and when you ride in the taxicabs on the streets of New York, if you ask who best typified the heart of the greatest city in the Western world, you are bound to hear the name, Jimmy Walker. And the smile that goes with the utterance of that name makes you smile and makes you feel warm and fine and forgiving all day long.